The Mentawai Islands span 1,000 miles. There's only 10 places to get diesel and only one place to get cash.
How would you plan for a journey like this? In this journey, we're covering 1,000 miles all the way along the western coast of Sumatra. It's the transitional, which means not so much wind, and does also mean a certain amount of motoring.
Yes, and unfortunately, Esper only carries 360 litres of diesel inside the boat, so that's going to mean quite a lot of topping up. But how do you do that when there are very few places to get fuel?
Yeah, and to get fuel, you need cash, and to get cash, you need an ATM. Not always easy, a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Okay, it's time to check out the capital of the Mentawai Islands. This is Topea. It's literally 2 streets, but there seems to be a real mix of buildings. There's a church there, and in fact we noticed quite a few churches along the coastline, and I know for a fact there is a mosque in the centre of town. We've been hearing it. Looks quite pretty from here. Just a couple of reefs to negotiate. There's one here, you can see there's a guy anchored, there's a shallow patch there, and then there's quite a tight reef inside the anchorage we're heading to, which fortunately we can see on the satellite maps. But the lady we spoke to yesterday said that when they went in on their boat many years ago, they hit something, and I suspect it's that it is that reef, so we just need to keep an eye out for that. Okay, so we have anchored just south of Topea. There's a little jetty where the ferries are tied up, and then as we came in, there's a very tight channel between 2 reefs. Fortunately, the locals have stuck a post on the edge of one of the reefs. Even looks like it has a light on as well. So we're safely tucked in, nice thick gloopy mud, and put the boat into hard astern, so we've got good holding. Just behind me there is the town, and just down the end there is the end of the river, and there's another little jetty with a few more boats tied up there. Not sure what they're about. There's a local guy in one of his little dugouts with the outriggers on, which you see a lot of here. I guess because of the swell that they get here, these outriggers, which are normally just pieces of wood with big arms with a connecting piece of wood, so that it's got 2 cross pieces of wood and then 2 down the sides, but it keeps these guys balanced in the swell. And so pretty much every single sort of single man dugout kayak that you see here have these outriggers on. Feeling quite safe and happy here. This is good. We're a bit confused about the forecast. There's supposed to be some heavy weather coming through from the north, but only one of the forecasts is showing it this. The others are saying there isn't much, and as you can see at the moment there isn't anything. But we have a few things to do. We want to provision, we want to see if we can get some money, and then we do need to try and get some more diesel as well. So that's what we're going to do today and tomorrow. Fun and games walking along this elevated platform here, which is a little bit precarious. Get the odd rotten piece of plank and the rotten piece of vertical. A little bit scary. Wouldn't want to do that pissed at night. So this is Topea. This is the capital of the Mentawai Islands. By capital, I think it has 2 streets, and this is probably the first one. Right, so first things first is we need to change money, and I think we've already said we've been without money for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. We went to that hotel the other night and paid on credit card, debit card. There's 2 banks in town. One of them has a MasterCard sign but no Visa, because we're Visa, not MasterCard. And then the other bank here I think is a classic local Indonesian bank. None of the logos that we see by the ATM are recognisable. We've been told that there is one hotel that will exchange money. Kilometers.
Okay.
And then you can find a bank.
BNE.
BNE.
So it's proving difficult to get cash out because so far apparently in the capital of Mentawai there's nowhere where you can exchange cash. We have been told we can go to a hotel and do it there, but this bank manager is really helpful and he's suggested that we go to the BNI, the Mentawai Bank, which is about a kilometre's walk from here, because he reckons that we'll be able to use our cards in the ATM, so wish us luck.
Well, we've been walking now for 20 minutes. It's not been too bad because it's been quite cloudy. The sun's just come out. And this is the other bank, the one other bank, 2 miles down the road. And is there a Visa sign? Yes, there is a Visa sign. Let's see what happens. What's that noise? What's that noise, Liz?
I'm really hoping it's the sound of cash. Oh, yes it is.
Yeah!
1.5 million!
Well, what a relief that was. We managed to get 2 out of the 3 cards worked. They restrict you to 1.5 million rupiah, which sounds like a lot of money, but is actually about £80. So we've been able to get out 160 quid so far. Hopefully that will pay for the diesel. Maybe a case of beer if we're lucky, and perhaps a little meal out.
As you said, Jamie, I think we've hit the jackpot on the slot machines. So we're now loaded up with bloody millions. Right. I think we should let other people have a go. Won't be anything left.
So from being paupers with having not a penny to our name, we're now multi-millionaires. We successfully got out 9 million rupiah. Which again, I say it sounds a lot, but that's at least enough now to get diesel and provision and treat ourselves to a couple of meals out as well, which we haven't done in weeks. So pretty pleased about that. It was worth the walk up and down the hill. It's overcast again now, so it's nice and cool, relatively speaking.
Hot, sweaty and bothered, but finally we found a nice little homestay, local homestay, and they do bintang and they're doing us some food. Yes, thank you.
Hi.
So happy now, got money, got Telkomsel connection, got a beer. I can enjoy life again.
How are you finding the capital of Mentawai?
It's pretty easy, you just look out, there it is. Ha ha ha. It's very sweet, it's tiny, it's a village. What's interesting I found is it's the first place we've been since Sabang that's actually got a hill.
Yeah.
And all the posh houses are on the top of the hill. Yeah, it's nice, it's really friendly, all as everywhere is here. Lots of smiles and waves and hellos and where are you goings. Quite sleepy, but an enormous amount of traffic. Don't really understand that.
Okay, we have got all of our shopping. We are fully laden with vegetables and fruit and beer. And getting back to the dinghy is quite amusing because we have to walk along these gangplanks over the water. Lizzie's fully laden up. Some of the planks are quite stable, a few of them are a bit rotten. Okay, so just switching over to the waterproof camera. Off to get some diesel. We have a good authority. There's a diesel place just on the corner here. We've anchored right by a reef, so we're not particularly secure on anchor. There's not much wind at the moment, but let's go and see if we can find this diesel place. Well, I think I've found the right place. I was told to look out for a couple of outboard engines hanging on the back of a house and some boats up on the edge here. So this is it, and I've just had a chat with the guy and he says it's through the road, through the little alleyway to the road, so let's go and have a look. Which way? This guy's helping me out here.
We have petrol too.
Oh.
You want to pay gasoline?
This is for diesel.
Yeah. You want to pay?
This one here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Terima kasih.
Yeah. 310 ter.
So very important. Diesel is solar. Solar.
Solar.
Solar. Say
yeah.
it again.
Yeah.
Solar.
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 Very important because actually these jerry cans are benzene or petrol jerry cans, which is quite confusing.
No,
gasoline. But we use them for diesel. So this is the solar. I'm getting 110 litres. Now the stuff I've just put in the engine, left over from Sabang and also from Telos, is, well, it's certainly a different colour to what I'm used to. But I'm guessing, you know, these guys, they run their engines on this stuff. Maybe there's a very big market for diesel filters. Okay. That's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. Well, this process of filling up diesel is clearly going to take a very long time. It's sort of 2 litres at a time from big tank to bucket to the jerry can. Meanwhile, locals are turning up and they want their share as well, so every time they turn up they jump in, get their diesel. I think I'm going to get a drink because I think I could be here for a while. How about this for cute? She's been helping me with the diesel, haven't you? You're going to help me lift the diesel to the dinghy, aren't you? So we've got the dinghy, the diesel there. And turns out he's also got bintang and he's got soda water, so I've just put some orders in for that because the dinghy is literally just down there and it's nice and easy to load the dinghy up. And you're going to help me, aren't you? Yeah? How much do you charge? How much do you charge an hour? Yeah? While I was to wait for the diesel, I thought I'd take in this view, this little vista. This really is classic Indonesian view, isn't it? It's what you expect when you look in the brochures. It's just beautiful. I have to say, all the beaches around here that we've been to are pretty spotless. And don't forget, this is a community of both Muslim and Christians. Not forgetting, of course, the surfers as well. So there's a few tourists here. But look at these waters and look at this beach. It's just so clear. I could look at this all day. The only problem is I'm now stinking of diesel. Hooey! Well, the hardest part of that operation was getting the dinghy back in the water. 120 litres of fuel and trying to pull it down a very steep slope. Anyway, we're done. We're done. Who knows what the quality of the diesel's like? No idea. We have got a lot of filters though, so we're sort of semi-prepared for this. Of course, we're filtering it when we put it into the tanks as well, but who knows? We'll see. Oh, I could do the beer now.
You get everything?
Yep.
So what have you got for us?
Okay, I've got some nice, clean, dirty diesel, whatever that means. I've got another case of beer, and I asked him for some soda water as well. Anyway, he went off on the scooter and he came back with a bag of what the Americans call sodas, so a mixture of ginger ales and tonic waters and things. Anyway, there's a bit of weather coming in, so I think we should get this stuff on board.
Okay.
And get moving.
Okay. Will Hunt on Patreon wants to know where are the worst diesel stops we've ever been in our travels.
Well, Will, I think I'd have to say the one that you just saw in this episode was possibly one of the worst, partly because of the struggle of getting the jerry cans back into the dinghy. It's a very sandy beach, it's very, very steep, so you kind of have to get the jerry cans in first, and you really don't want to get sand on those jerry cans because they end up on the boat and potentially in the diesel. So yeah, that's up there as one of the most tricky, I'd say.
On Patreon, sailing a vessel, French kissing life, Stephen and Luann Ormsby, Astrid Palme and Will Hunt again. They want to know about diesel additives. Do we use them?
No, we don't. And so far it's been okay. We've always filtered the fuel before it goes into the tank. Then we have an Algae X magnetic filter. The jury's out on whether those are effective or not. Then we have a 5 micron water separator, Raycor water separator, and then we have the secondary fuel filter. So where possible, we filter as much as possible. However, little tiny microbes apparently are only 0.1 micron big, so it doesn't matter how much you filter your fuel, it is still possible that you may get some kind of algae growth in your tanks. So far it's been okay, and of course you have to remember as liveaboards we are constantly flushing that tank through with diesel, of course. Yeah. Now in Indonesia we have the big problem of the Indonesian government insisting that we now use biodiesel, and that is a mix of diesel and, believe it or not, palm oil. And the reason why they did this was to slow down the importation of diesel and of course to prop up their own palm oil industry. Now the problem with this is that it can contain something called FAME, which is fatty acid ethyl methyl esters. I'll put it underneath, FAME. The problem with this is that it has a solvent in it which can attack your gaskets and your seals on your engine. So I would suggest if you're going to be in Indonesia for any extended period and you're constantly using Indo fuel, then you need to have some kind of biocide that's going to deal with that specific problem.
In a nutshell, no, we don't use additives. And now American McGee on Patreon, he says, the US recently labelled their natural gas Freedom Gas. What nickname would you give diesel based on the experience of collecting, filtering and storing it for use on a sailboat?
Dodgy diesel. Juan Pablo on Patreon asks whether we get charged an obscene amount of money when we withdraw cash from foreign ATMs in far-flung places.
Yes, sometimes we do is the answer. Basically, banks will try and screw you at both ends, at the machine and also at the other end when they do the currency conversion. So yes, you really can get screwed quite badly. Thailand was particularly bad because every time you made any withdrawal from the machine, you could be paying up to £5 just for the withdrawal.
And it didn't matter how much you were taking out?
No, so we always took the maximum. So yes, the answer is yes, you can. So what you need to do really is shop around in your home country, find out which bank does the best deal. There are banks in the UK, certainly nationwide, they do a card where you don't get charged commission. So at least that saves it at your end. So shop around. I
heard in the States, Charles Schwab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, apparently they reimburse you any fees that you get charged abroad.
That sounds good.
So David Hightower on our YouTube community page asks about ATMs that don't take your debit or credit card?
Yeah, this does happen, and it has happened in Indonesia. Not really anywhere else in the world, but we got to Anambas and the Mentawais, and we discovered plenty of cash machines-ish, but they were only taking local cards. We found the one that took Visa, and they do exist, so you have to look for them. But yeah, it can be a problem. So what you need to do is you need to take cash dollars, potentially, so that you can convert those. However, we couldn't even do that in the Mentawais. Take local currency. Get as much local currency under your belt before you go, and do your research, find out, unlike us, what you can and can't do before you get there.
Another question on our YouTube community page. This one's from Tamari Jordan. This is brilliant. I love this one. Have you ever been approached by criminals to smuggle stuff like diamonds or gold across ocean borders? I guess you wouldn't tell us if you were, but how would you deal with such a situation if they threaten to kill you or your loved ones? Show us your Rambo face.